So I'll put it back on you, Dakota. Who do you think is the number one flyweight in the women's division right now?
Valentina Shevchenko.
All right, y'all, what's going on? It's Combo Breaker 99 back with another quick video. All right, y'all, so I just got done looking at Dakota Ditcheva's most recent interview here. And after listening to it, I know some of the fanboys are going to be hurt again. Some of them are going to have their feelings hurt. They might even turn on Dakota with this one. But I agree with Dakota 100%. Y'all know what question she was asked that I'm talking about here. But as y'all know, a lot of these other platforms, after the Tyler Santos knockout from Dakota, a lot of these other platforms, they've been going on record now to say that Dakota is the number one flyweight in the world. Like, she's the number one women's flyweight champion in the world, period. You know, they all going on record to say that. Look, again, I have a newfound respect for Dakota. I always respect her as a fighter, but I'm not on this train that other fighters are on, or the other fans are on, where they're saying that, you know, she's the best without having to go through a gauntlet or even having to get the UFC belt. I'm not on that train. You know, I'm still someone that says, okay, this fighter, they have to go through this fighter and this fighter before they can prove that they are the best in the world. And Dakota apparently agrees with what I'm saying, because she herself answered this question from this reporter, because he asked himself. He was like, okay, everybody else is saying you're number one in the world, but who do you think is number one flyweight in the world? And Dakota Ditcheva says, Valentina Shevchenko. Valentina Shevchenko, without a doubt. She just said that without even thinking about it. I mean, Dakota understands the work you have to put into the game. And that's what it is. Look, I always feel like the fans, they just tend to follow what they see. They don't understand the work, and they don't really respect the game, because Dakota, as a fighter, she knows. Of course, she's confident, and, you know, she feels like, I could do this, I could do that, I could beat grass on Valentina one day. But when it comes down to it, she knows the work that somebody like Valentina Shevchenko has put in. She understands that you have to do this and that. You have to do ABC before you can be considered the GOAT. You know what I mean? Before you can be considered a GOAT, you still have to put the work in. And that's why, like I said, I respect her as a fighter, because the fans, you can't really go by what they say. That's why I always do my own research on fighters, and, you know, look at what they do and look at how they act and look at how they, you know, approach the game first, because that's how you can really tell if a fighter's going to make it or not, what type of work they're putting in. And Dakota, she understands that. That's why she's saying, look, Valentina is still the best fighter in the world right now. She's still the best flyweight in the world. That's showing you that there's still a separation there, because she knows that she has to put the work in. And that's all I'm saying, too. You know, when these fans always get all butthurt about me still putting her at this level versus like a Valentina or Grass or a Manon, there's still work that has to be put in, you know. Of course, by eye test, she's finishing all these girls. She looks that good, and, you know, she looks like she's ready. Okay, she might be ready for the top 10. She might be ready for the top 5. But when it comes down to just respect and recognition right now, we still have to say that Valentina Shevchenko is number one. So my thoughts on that, I 100% agree. I 100% agree that Valentina Shevchenko is still the number one flyweight in the world, because she's proved it time and time again. And she's really proved it now, because once she faced an opponent that she wasn't used to, or she really had to face adversity, she came back stronger and she went back to basics, right? She still showed that I am a smart fighter, and I can still dig deep. You know, I can still dig deep and show another level even as I get older, you know, even if I'm starting to lose a step, I can still grow as a fighter. And that's why it is important, I think, for some of these fighters to take an L sometimes throughout their career. You know, nobody's going to live a perfect life, just like nobody's going to fight a perfect fight game, you know. Well, it only happened with some people, right? You know, but I think all in all, you know, the fighter's life is just like regular life. You're going to face adversity, but it all comes back to how you bounce back and approach that obstacle that you lost to the first time. Now, if you can come back with it, you can come back and you can win. That puts you on a higher level again. And that's what Valentina was able to do. Just like Dakota said in this interview, you know, Valentina's been around a long time. She's been around a long time. She's filled that belt up with rubies. So how can you not say she's number one? That'd be disrespectful. That's what I'm adding. But, you know, that would be disrespectful for, you know, even Dakota to say I'm number one over Valentina. Of course, she'll feel like she can beat her one day, but you can't say you're number one over this person who's laid down the groundwork and won the inaugural flyweight belt by beating some of the best fighters in the world, you know, and defending against some of the best fighters in the world. So it's just reality there. You know, again, you can have your favorite fighter. Like I always keep saying, look, you can have your favorite fighter. Dakota, you can have your favorite fighter. You know, she can be the best fighter in the world in your opinion, like my favorite fighter to watch. But when it comes down to comparing her to Valentina Shevchenko and what she's done, you still have to say, whether you like Valentina or not, oh yeah, Valentina, she's still number one. Why? Because look, she just came back, won her belt. Look at all the people she's beat. Look at the dominant ways that she's beat them. Of course, she hasn't knocked everybody out the same way, but she's faced different fighters that forced her to fight in different ways. Whereas again, Dakota, she's been able to be dominant in her one style, but what were those girls that she was fighting really offering? I mean, once you tally up those girls' resumes, who are those girls versus the ladies that Valentina has fought? Okay, so it's just like, I liken it to like a job, man. Like when you want to get promoted, because everybody wants to promote Dakota without the work. They all want to give her the CEO position or the vice president or senior vice president position just off of the eye test. Oh, she was able to do this against this level of work. Okay, you got it. But what about the resume check? See, I'm about the resume too. Like, eye test is fine, but what about the resume, man? The resume is important. Like, again, liken it to a job. When you sitting down for that position, you got to look at the resume and say, okay, let me see this person's experience. Like, what kind of situations have they been in? Like, what kind of real like situations have you been in that where to showcase your critical thinking skills or, you know, your real business skills out there? You know, you have to have that on your resume. Just like when they ask you questions like, how would you handle this situation? You know, how did you handle this situation? So I see it the same way. Like, you have to have that resume to go by. You have to have that experience, those names on there. Okay. Now, it can be like school too, you know, with Dakota. She is a highly gifted athlete. She's a highly gifted fighter where some fighters can't skip grades. But before you can get that belt, you still have to fight certain levels of fighters, right? Now, that part is like school. Like, you can be skipped ahead because you've proven time and time again that you're better than this. But still, to get that belt, you still have to fight this level of fighter first. You can't just be skipped all the way ahead. You still have to take certain tests. You know what I mean? Like, you still have to take certain placement tests, which I've been through before. You know, you have to take placement tests. Like, if you place out of this grade and this grade and this grade, okay, to show you're better, take this placement test to show us that you deserve higher. All right? So that's all I'm saying. Dakota needs that first, and she needs that resume. And she understands that too. So from hearing her put Valentina first, that's still showing you that, okay, there's still levels to this, and she still has to put that work in. And that's all I was saying. So, yeah, I respect her more, of course, more so than her fans, because y'all be putting her on this pedestal. But no, Dakota knows that, look, you got to put this work in, and eventually she will get there. Could she beat Valentina one day? Sure, she probably could, you know, depending on, you know, how she develops as a fighter. And if her ground game and, you know, her strength is just off the charts and, you know, she storms through these other fighters, of course she could do it one day. But it has to be done first. She has to beat high-level fighters before you just say she is the number one. Okay? That's still not enough. Because, again, going through the tournament, no winners were fought by Dakota. Okay? She didn't fight any winners throughout that tournament until she fought Tyler Santos. And granted, yes, she destroyed her, but still, you got to put in that work. So to me, yeah, I agree with Dakota on this. Valentina is still the number one. She's still the number one flyweight in the world. Don't get mad at me. Your favorite fighter said it herself. Combo Breaker 99. I'm out. Subscribe. Peace.